on death row perhaps. Maybe even the exact same man Light killed when he first used the death note. From there, Elle would confirm that it's the real thing, and the story starts.
You already know Penn Station's grilled subs
Bruh.
and those fresh cut fries are awesome.
There's an
But
ad
what
and I
about
just dropped a piece
dunking
of chicken.
awesome? Introducing new Cheese Dipper. Dippable cheddar.
Now, to do this video, we have to
About
do
to kill
scenarios.
myself.
The reason why we have to do scenarios is we have to consider which character in a certain position can do what. In scenario A, Light has access to Elle's resources. For scenario A, we're going under the assumption that Light, who has switched places with Elle, has access to Elle's resources. This does not mean his intellect or personality has changed. This is still the same Light that everyone is familiar with, except he's taken on the role of Elle and has his resources. To start off, one of Elle's main resources is his money. Elle's fortune started when he was just 8 and still with Watari. Elle requested that Watari buy 1 million pounds of Japanese yen, followed by investing in various stocks of Elle's choice. Watari does as Elle asks, and within 2 years, his assets reached nearly 20,000 times the original amount. The calculations have been done for the exact amount, and it comes to around 70 billion British pounds. But this investment isn't the only source of Elle's money. Mello stated in the LABB Murder Cases novel written by Inicio Eason that Elle, on principle, never got involved in a case unless there were more than 10 victims at stake or $1 million at stake. The novel also states that Elle has solved over 3,500 cases. Assuming he was paid for every case with basic multiplication, Elle would have earned 3.5 billion alone. With Elle's money, he's been able to hire people like Iba and Weddy, one who is an experienced con man and the other who is a professional cat burglar, to aid him in the Kira case. Elle was also able to purchase a 23-floor skyscraper with a helipad to accommodate the detectives and Light who are busy solving the Kira case. Now that we've covered Elle's financial status, we need to talk about the influence that Elle has. Elle is known to the globe as the world-renowned detective and is sought after by multiple police agencies during the start of Death Note to assist them in the Kira case. Elle is not only able to command Interpol, but it has been stated that he's been able to mobilize police in every country worldwide. So why am I highlighting all this? If anything, Light having access to all of Elle's resources should make this easier, right? Well, no, because the thing is, even if Light had access to all of this, it wouldn't matter. Elle would simply go about being Kira in a different way compared to Light. Now, let me explain. At this point of time, Light is considered a genius by everyone around him. He's at the top of his school, he's diligent in his studies, he's hardworking, and he's talented in many different areas. Light has probably grown up being praised for anything he does. Due to his intelligence, athleticism, and looks, he has constantly been the center of admiration. These traits have turned him into a very vain and egotistical person, and made him into a narcissist. Since there are only a few days that lie between his pre-Death Note personality and his post-Death Note personality, I'll use some examples from the latter's example since there isn't much change, to explain his narcissism. Shamelessness, the inability to process shame in healthy ways. Throughout the anime, Light is shown multiple times to be absolutely humiliated simply by suffering a defeat, no matter how minor. He vents his frustration either through anger or by becoming eerily calm. One of the most prominent examples is in episode 9 when Elle reveals who he is to Light, ruining Light's chances to anonymously kill him. Light walks home without uttering a single word, and the camera fails to show his expression. Only when he gets into his room does he vent his anger. Magical thinking, the distorted way of thinking that causes one to believe they are flawless and perfect. Light is the poster child for someone who has a god complex. He believes that he is in the right no matter the circumstance. Arrogance, to put oneself above others. Light definitely thinks he's better than those around him. He even goes as far as putting himself right under the nose of his enemy, fully believing that he won't be caught. Envy, to secure a sense of superiority in the face of another person's ability. One of the driving forces behind the plot was Light's need to be Elle. Light just had to show that he was better than Elle. With the information that Elle had to work with, he would have never really discovered the Death Note, therefore never being able to catch Light, until Light gave him some hints, and that's all Elle needed to know. Entitlement, a sense of being perfect and superior enough to receive special treatment. Because Light is getting rid of the world's criminals, he should be forgiven for all of his crimes. This is what Light believes, and he has the ability to enforce it. Exploitation, to exploit others and show no regard or empathy for their emotions or interests. Light is shown many times to be very manipulative, using the emotions of others to get what he wants, acting as both Misa's and Takeda's boyfriend in a prime example. Bad boundaries, failure to recognize that other people are individuals. People either exist to meet Light's needs, or they might as well not exist at all. Light gets rid of anyone who serves him no use, no matter how minor a threat they are. These are all the traits that must be taken in account when you look at Light Yagami as a character and in terms of how he would act as Kira. I'll reiterate the notion that Light has been like this for a long time, or at least well before he picked up the Death Note. His narcissism combined with his boredom and childlike sense of justice, all bad people must die, made him yearn for a godlike power. Which is why there was little hesitation for him to begin using the Death Note. The good student and dutiful son that he played was just a facade. And once he got the ability to change something, he was eager to do so. So now we already know a bit of Light's personality, and how he acted before and during his reign as Kira. A genius with a god complex, and a disturbingly large ego. Keep in mind that this is Light, not L. While L is similar to Light in the sense that he's childish and hates to lose, L's ego never got in the way of his work. If anything, it was L's intellect and EQ, which is greatly underrated, which is what caused L to get close to Light. At the very start of the show, before L and Light even confronted each other, L had been able to grasp Light's emotions, motivations, and general psychological state to absolute perfection without ever meeting him. This is absolutely an insane feat when we consider the context. To put it into perspective, Kira has absolutely zero evidence of existing, so he is just purely an abstraction in L's head, whom he profiles from just the fact that criminals around the world are dying through impossible means, via cardiac arrest. I'll also expand over the amount of understanding L boasts regarding Kira. Kira is an individual who is childish and hates to lose, so will use any means necessary to gain the upper hand. To him, these murders are a means of freeing this world from impurity and evil, so he has a strong belief in his righteousness and perception of the world. Kira isn't an adult. He has a very surface level and pragmatic way of thinking. Signs of naivete and an unsophisticated persona are present, so he is a teenager currently in high school.
Find your perfect tax expert, whatever your tax situation might be. Hand off your taxes to an expert who gets you with TurboTax Expert Full Service.
Kira is prideful and arrogant. He despises the idea of his authority being challenged. Kira has everything he needs. He is living a comfortable life and is completely devoid of problems. This automatically infers high confidence in his physical state and cognitive abilities. Kira has a very strong sense of justice, as his use of this power, as Kira is being used to cleanse the world in a mannerism which he perceives to be right. This is also evident by L relating himself to Kira. Now Kira also shares the Churchillian ideology stance regarding victory. He believes that justice, right and wrong, are malleable through power. The previous point also links with how Kira distills fear in a cohesive manner to shape the world in his view. He exploits people's desire for a higher being, for the bestowing of his punishment upon evildoers and those who defy the law and moral standards. Remember, this is purely L's understanding of Kira's emotions through nothing but criminals dying in unexplainable ways throughout the world. A person who doesn't exist. When he first revealed himself to the task force, must have proposed the idea of limiting